And then they looked around to follow the hadith. Who's going to be the imam of the prayer? Amr bin Usamah said, when they looked around, lo and behold, I knew the most Quran. And the reason why I knew the most Quran I memorized is because as a kafir, where we lived, the caravans used to go to Medina, back and forth. And whenever those caravans would come, I would hear them talking about the Quran and reading the Quran, and I was memorizing it as a kafir. He said after that, we all became Muslims, and I used to lead my tribe in Salah. And I was 6 years old. So from that hadith, a lot of benefits. But from the hadith, it shows how the Prophet ﷺ dealt with reverts who came to him, teaching them religion, telling the community, hey, help with this situation, come out of your pockets, let them stay with you. It's the day of their Eid. You people are having enjoyment. These people were struggling. Eid is a depressed experience for the revert, depressed. So he dealt with them. This hadith also shows how he dealt with young people as well. How he dealt with young people, young reverts, 6 years old. The cultural Islam, the masjid, cultural Islam, when I first moved to Birmingham, I was at a big masjid, and the house was 2 houses away from the masjid. Fajr adhan, I make salatul fajr, the 2 rakats, real easy, go to the masjid. But when I would go into that masjid, I was not made to feel comfortable. I didn't even like being in there. They made me feel like I didn't belong. They wasn't teaching the religion. And they used to look at me every time I put my shoes on, like I was gonna steal the shoes or something. We don't want that kind of masjid, cultural masjid, where only people from that culture, that color, that ethnicity feel comfortable. As a revert, if I go into that masjid, I should feel welcome. Now, I don't want to divert, but as a revert, if I go into that masjid, I should feel at least the people are helping me to grow and to develop, not run me away from Al-Islam. So with Amr bin Usamah, may Allah be pleased with him, and the cultural masjid, the people will tell you, the little boy who is 6, 7, 8, but he knows what he's doing, he can't be in the first row. The people get him and get him out. No. Because during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he allowed the young man to lead the people in the prayer. That's just one of the many examples of the Nabi of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam looking at those reverts and paying attention. Now we're talking about reverts. We're not even talking yet and addressing yet giving dawah to non-Muslims. That's part of our responsibility. You know, when I have a relative who dies, and as a revert, brothers, relatives die, you want to know, can I go to the church? Can I go to the funeral? The answer is la, kalla. You can't go. And there are reasons and proofs for that. But I say, you can go if you validate your presence. When you go there, validate why you're there. Let them give you the mic, and you say some words about death, some words about the dead person, and however, with hikmah, you talk. But just to go, just to sit there. So my point here is, the same thing holds true with us being here. Muslims have to be a part of the society, and we don't apologize. We're not second-class citizens, and we have a lot to give in the way of helping these people who are around us, knowing about the correct Islam. So now, that's what we're going to do, inshallah. And we have a lot to talk about, a lot to address, a lot. Because as the reverts are moving forward, you know, an older brother, one of the older brothers, if someone gave a really good khutbah and he spoke very well, and then he came to an older brother and said to him, hey, here's a bomb, go put it on a bus and blow the bus up because of what happened in Palestine. The older man is going to say, no way, Jose, what are you talking about? He has enough common sense to know that's not right. But the revert, he's a new Muslim. He doesn't know much. His ankle bone from his elbow. He's easily influenced. Some people are like that. It's our responsibility to make sure that people who come into contact with us, they get a balanced understanding of Al-Islam. And if we don't address this, we'll have reverts doing things that are not acceptable. And I don't have to give you examples of what has happened in this country historically as a result of young reverts to the religion not knowing the religion. Where were they cultivated? Where were they developed? They were not. And as a result of that, people can talk to them and then they go and do something crazy. Wind up in Syria, do something crazy. I know a young brother, the word how much, you know how much something costs. How much is it? It wasn't in his vocabulary. His father had cheddar. His father had dough. He didn't ask how much. The boy was here studying. And the father brought him a nice flat in one of the most expensive parts of London. Bought him a flat. And all he had to do was live there and go to university, live there, go to university. He hooked up with some extreme people and he tried to get on an airplane, go to America with a bomb in his underwear. And now he threw his life away. No benefit for him, his family, Islam. Now you may sit there and say, oh, you're being dramatic. This is extreme. I'm telling you, this is what happens. So we have a religious responsibility to help people to the best of our ability and looking out for reverse as part of what the Prophet came with. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As for the virtues of being a revert, I tell you there is an issue in Al-Islam. Who's better off? Who is in a better position? The one who was a revert or the one who was born and raised in Al-Islam? Some of the scholars said ha'ula'i and some of the scholars say ula'ika. And usually when you have that situation, there's the middle balanced road. There's virtues for both of them. But for the virtues, because when people embrace Al-Islam, it's a lot of good about them. That's why you brothers who are born and raised on Islam, you should be very grateful and thankful to your parents. This is one of the reasons why Birrul Walidain is so high in Islam. If you were born in Kufr and Jahiliyyah, you grew up as a Catholic, who promised you you'd have come back to the religion? That the religion would have made sense to you? I don't know how many friends I have. Religion of Islam doesn't make sense to them, so they didn't revert. Now, if your mothers and your fathers did not gift to you Al-Islam, your names are Muslim names. Rashad, Bilal, Ahmed, Zishan, Mustafa. You have Muslim names. Your parents gave you the deen, they gave you culture, and then you turn around in 2020 and the kid is disrespectful to his parent. Not in our religion. This is one of the reasons the parent is so high in Islam. The Prophet said about the hadith everybody knows, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your mother, your mother, your mother. Everybody knows that hadith. He said, and then who? He said, your father. He said, a man will not be able to give his father his rights, what your father did for you, by bringing you to an existence by Allah. A man will never be able to give his father his haqq, unless the man grew up, found his father as a slave, an abd. Someone owns him, and then he paid for his freedom. And his father became free. He said, Dad, I gave you my haqq. I gave you your haqq. None of us are ever going to be in that position. It's never going to happen. And I know some of us have difficult parents, but still, Allah gave you life through them, and they gave you Islam. We're going to come back to that, inshallah. So from the virtues of Islam and accepting the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla is the fact that Islam is the greatest nirmah that Allah has given us. Nirmah, a blessing. And I don't care how many problems we have. We all got issues. But we also have a lot to be grateful for and thankful for. Especially if you left this country, you traveled around the Muslim world. Allah said in the Quran, in the number of ayat, وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. Allah has given you people from everything you asked for. And if you were to try to count and enumerate the favors of Allah, you will never be able to do so because there are too many. So this one is married, he has a son and a daughter. That one has a job in the car. That one over there, we're in this country, we're not worrying about Jews coming and bulldozing our house down, putting bombs in the masjid. We have stability and security. Even a guy who is an asylum seeker. It's not easy being an asylum seeker, you're not here legally. Even that guy is better off than people who are in Palestine, and Kashmir, and other parts of Africa in the world. So everybody has a lot of nirmah. You know when you come out of the toilet, akramakumullah, the sunnah when you come out of the toilet is to come out with what foot? What? The left foot?
Right.
We go in with the left foot, come out with the right. And the simple dua that we say when we come out, what is it? Ghufranaka, which simply means, oh Allah forgive me. Oh Allah forgive me. What did you do that was a sin? You just went to the toilet to answer the call of nature. It's natural. In our religion, Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Al-Latif, Al-Halim. What did you do? It's not that you did a sin, but the Prophet, he came out and he told us, Sallallahu Ghufranaka, oh Allah forgive me. Forgive me for not being able to thank you for the one ni'mah of going to the toilet. Because if you're constipated, man is constipated. So I have a heart attack. He has gas. It's just constipation. What about a person not being able to relieve themselves for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days? So that's just the ni'mah of being able to relieve yourself. Without mentioning, you can see, you can breathe, you can eat. You have safety, security, children, you're married. You have a good wife. Someone is taking care of you. You have clean clothes. You go to bed every day. Full. So many things. So with all of those ni'mah, the greatest ni'mah is the ni'mah of Islam. There's nothing that you have bigger ni'mah than Islam. Allah said in the Quran, some of the scholars said it's that last ayat that was revealed. Some of them took that position. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Today, I have completed for you your religion, and I completed my ni'mah upon you. And I chose for you, and I'm pleased to give you al-Islam. So the ayah said that Allah completed the ni'mah. It's the greatest ni'mah. Someone here has the most money. I don't know who he is. But without al-Islam, that money is a problem. Someone here doesn't have a lot of money. But with al-Islam, you can be the happiest dude in this spot. That's why he told the people, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the affair of the believer is strange. Anyway, that's from the ni'mah of coming to this religion. And I want you guys to appreciate this. That when you see people, other people, that came to Islam, it's the way you see an older person, hafiz of the Quran, you have to look at him like, wow, that's an ayat. Because had the tables been turned and the shoe was put on the other foot, you may not have come into the religion. So I want to repeat this. Even if your parents are difficult to deal with and to get along with, you always remember that they gave you Islam. You were born and raised in Islam. People who are on this religion, one of my reoccurring nightmares that I see often is my mother drowning because the boat tipped over. I see that a lot. She's drowning. She didn't embrace Islam and she checks out as a non-Muslim. Stick a fork in her. Done. She's not going to Jannah no matter what. So some of our brothers, their relatives die, we make dua. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. A'adhama Allah ajrakum. Inna lillahi ma a'ta wa lillahi ma akhadha wa kullu shay'in li ajrin musamma. Be patient. You got it? But when the revert comes, you say, hey, my mother died. It's like when you stop at the red light and the car next to you is moving. You think you're moving. You're discombobulated. You don't know what to say. Your mother Muslim? Nah. Can't say rahmatullah alayha. So accepting al-Islam, ikhwani, is the greatest ni'mah. And those people, they exemplify that. Another major virtue of accepting al-Islam is, al-Islam has the ability when you accept it to make a mahu. It wipes away what came before it, no matter what the person did. Now I could sit here and I could be very graphic and offensive and give you some examples of some sins that people can commit. Like more graphic than the authentic hadith of the man who killed 99 people and then he killed another 100. That's graphic. I can give you some sins worse than that. It wouldn't be appropriate to say it, especially with our shabab listening. It wouldn't be appropriate. But use your own imagination. The worst sin you can possibly think of, and the person does it a lot. But if the person becomes a Muslim, Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in al-Islam yajubbu ma kana qabluhu. Al-Islam wipes away everything that went before it, no matter what you did. And people who are in Jahiliyyah, they're exposed to a lot of drama. Now, I don't think we're going to be around anyone who killed 100 people. I don't think so. I don't think it's that bad. But when the Prophet told us about that individual who killed 100 people, he was a Muslim. And he made Tawbah. Tawbah wipes away everything you did. If you just make Tawbah sincerely. That's for the Muslim. Also the Kafir. If he comes into Islam and he says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, he is a Muslim in these eyes of the Prophet said, Kayom waladatu ummuhu. He's like the day his mother gave birth to him. One time I was in Medina studying in the month of Ramadan, and the people, in order to get rewards, they would put down the plastic bag, the plastic to put the dates on to break the fast in Ramadan. So this brother, he wants to get the reward of breaking people's fast. He wants to get the reward. So your family puts this down, and people just come and sit down and wait for the adhan. It's a beautiful experience. So as we were sitting there close to Maghrib time, and the sun was going down more and more, the brother who put all the food out, he wanted to get to know everybody. He said, okay, Ikhwani, where you guys from? What's your name and where you from? My turn came up. I told him I'm Abu Usamah. There. He said, where you from? I said, from America. He said to me, are you a Muslim? I was in Medina, sitting at Prophet Muhammad's masjid, was right there. But his understanding was, in America, everybody's a kafir. But there are some people from our community, when they meet a revert, they say, I'm a real Muslim, and you're not a real Muslim. And we look at them as second-class citizens. And there's a problem. I'm a real Muslim. What does that mean, you're a real Muslim? You don't know your ankle bone from your elbow in the deen. Your ankle bone from your elbow. Yes, you were gifted Islam, and we have to acknowledge that and recognize that. But look how you act. So that stuff about real Muslim, fake Muslim, what are you talking about? When he accepted al-Islam, he's 40, 45, whatever, he's new. Whereas you haven't been praying for a long portion during your life. You fell into a lot of haram. Relationships, khamr, sharab, this, that. And you have to be, may Allah forgive all of us. I'm trying to make a point. I'm not putting anybody down. Who told you that you're in a better condition than the revert? A child. If the child dies before he becomes baligh, child goes to Jannah. He's not mukallaf, goes to Jannah. He doesn't have sins. He doesn't have any sins. That's why some of the scholars of the opinion that children of non-Muslims will go to Jannah, because they don't have any sins at all. So the new revert, that's how he is. Now what he has to do is make a serious struggle to learn his religion so that he doesn't make a lot of mistakes to catch up to people who preceded him. That's from the khair of being a revert. You're brand spanking new, like a baby. But unlike a baby, you know, when you're a little baby, you have to learn the school of hard knocks. You have to learn that the stove is hot, burn your hand, you fall down, that's how you learn. But if you were a mature adult and you started learning as a mature adult, things are easy. Like language is easy as a mature adult. So the revert is a mature adult, but he's a baby. Islam wipes that away. 30, and the last thing that I want to mention before I make this last point after, I want to make one more point. Shout for the reverts here, and for you brothers as well, that you acknowledge and recognize and accept reverts have virtues. Every revert that you know. The third thing is that the Prophet told the people, for those of us who used to be Christians or Jews only, Christians or Jews, and then you came into Islam from the rahmah of Allah, the karam of Allah, the ihsan of Allah. Allah didn't have to do this, but He gives the people. Listen, Allah has two names. We should know the distinction between them. Allah has a name Al-Kareem and a name Al-Jawad. And both of them basically mean the same thing. If you ask Arab, what is Kareem? He's going to say generous. What is Jawad? He's going to say generous. It's like Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. What is Ar-Rahman? Merciful. What is Rahim? They come from the same thing, Rahmah. No, it's a distinction. Kareem, Allah is Al-Kareem. Kareem is the one who, when you ask Him for something, He gives it to you. Oh Lord, give me this, give me that, give me that. He'll give it to you because you asked Him for it. And Jawad is Allah will give it to you even though you didn't ask Him for it. He's generous with you and you didn't even ask Him for it. That's one of the names of Allah. He is Al-Jawad. So He gave reverts something, He didn't have to do it. And it's from the virtues of being a revert. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة يؤتون أجرهم ثلاثة يؤتون أجرهم مرتين. There are 3 people who will get a double reward. The very first person He mentioned, رجل آمن بنبيه وأدرك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فآمن به واتبعه وصدقه. The first man that will get a double reward is a man who he believed he's from Ahlul Kitab. Rajulun min Ahlul Kitab. He's a person, Jew or Christian, used to be. And then he left Christianity or Judaism. He believed in Isa and Musa. He believed in them. He was a Christian or a Jew. He believed in that. And then he heard about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he believed in him. He followed him and he made tasdeeq. He believed, he accepted. Iman, tasdeeq. He'll get a double reward. Now someone may be in the audience and his parents were Sheikh or Hindus. And he'd be like, hey, I'm a revert too. Well, I don't get a double reward. Can't you put me with the Yahud and the Nasara? That's not our religion. There's something that's really important for you revert brothers, but for everybody. Allah said in the Quran about Himself, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Allah wasn't forgetful when He made this religion. So the haram, whatever's halal, whatever's haram, Allah knew what He was doing back then. He knew what He was doing. So you should never come and say, why I can't be like that? Because Allah didn't do that. He did it for Ahlul Kitab, Christian and the Jew. That's it. He didn't do it for a Sikh. The man comes into the religion. He is an ex-Sikh, Hindu. His wife is Sikh Hindu. He comes into the religion. He has to stop that. He can't marry her at all. But he's Ahlul Kitab. He comes into the religion of Islam. His wife is a Christian and a Jew. He can stay married to her. Why? Because Allah allowed that. He allowed that you get a double reward. And for the reverse as well, you know I'm not an Arab like you. The Arabs in our community, I think they're the minority. We are the Ajam. We're not Arabs, we're the majority. We get a double reward, all of us. The one who reads the Quran, and it's difficult for him, as the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الذي يقرأ القرآن وهو يتتعتع فيه وهو عليه شاق فله أجران. Anyone who tries to read the Quran, and it's difficult because it's not his language. He makes mistakes, but he tries. He'll get a double reward. A reward for trying and a reward for his iman about the virtues. And there are a lot of things like that. But my point is, as it relates to the reverts in Islam, ikhwani, is from their haqq that we pay attention to them in our masjid and in our lives. I want to end by making this clarification, this disclaimer. I don't want anybody here to think, when I talk about the virtues of the reverts, that I'm against you. It's like this issue of Black Lives Matter. I believe Black Lives Matter, meaning I don't support the group. They got a lot of issues, the group. But the concept, meaning in America, the way the white policemen police African Americans is not fair. I can lose my life when I'm there. My daughter can lose her life. My mother, if you're a black person, the police will shoot you. So Black Lives Matter. Now some people here, when I say that, no other lives matter. I didn't say no other lives matter. Palestinian lives matter. Iraqi lives matter. Sudanese lives matter. Kuffar, their lives matter. But in the context of what's going on in America, when I say I want the world to know Black Lives Matter, that I have a problem with the way my people are policed. The hypocrisy of America. My point is, don't understand from that other lives don't matter. I hear that from Muslims. Yeah, but would everybody? Come on, I didn't say they didn't. What's the point here? The point here is, when I say that the lives of reverts are virtuous because they're reverts, that doesn't mean you're a bum. If you were born and raised in Islam, you have no khayr. That's not our religion. That's not what I'm saying. Look what happened with the Nabi, and I want to make this clear to you. He was sitting with his companions, and he used to throw out information to get them to use their brain. Don't be one of those people who you just always want the answer. Sheikh, what's the answer? Sheikh, what's that? Do some research and be a student of knowledge yourself. Be a student of knowledge. You know, with Google and the internet right now, you're in this class, anybody who you sit with, you fact check what people are saying right in front of them while you're there. Don't be one of those people who just sit down and everybody. No. Do the research. That's what the Prophet used to do. He used to ask questions, throw things out there, keep people's minds working. So in this situation, he asked them a question, or he told them something. He said there will be 70,000 people from this ummah. They will enter into the Jannah without any adab and without any hisab. They won't be punished, and Allah won't ask them any question. May Allah make us of them. May Allah make us of them. Some people, when they hear that hadith and they're on hocus pocus Islam, they say, well, that can't be me. That's the Pir Saab and all his relatives. Who told you that? Who in the world told you that? That hadith is for the Pir Saab or Ahlul Bayt. No, you can be from those people. Now, people will go to Jannah, but they may have to go to the hellfire and get burnt up and get cleaned up, and then they come out of Jannah. And you don't want to get burnt up at all. At all. So, 70,000 people going to Jannah, virtuous people. No question, no punishment. Prophet Muhammad got up and left after they prayed Salat al-Maghrib. The companions sat there and they started saying, who do you think those people are? Who do you think? And they started using their brain amongst themselves. They said, لَعَلَّهُمَ الَّذِينَ وُلِدُوا فِي الْإِسْلَامِ وَلَمْ يُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ شَيْءٍ قَطْ. Maybe those 70,000 are the people from our children who will go into the Jannah. They were born in Islam and they never knew Sheikh. Because the companions, they knew Sheikh, guys. So the companions who were born in Islam, they were born and they were raised up. They didn't have to participate in what they were doing in Mecca, what the Arabs were doing, Jahili of the Arabs. At the top of the list, making shirk with Allah. They also used to make zina. They used to get high. They used to get high. Prostitution, akramakumullah. Highway robbery. Hey, imagine this. The lady will have her baby 9 months. She goes through 9 months of jihad, struggle. Baby pops out. A beautiful baby girl. The father, the husband, the uncle comes. Give me that baby. And without any without anything, she give her the baby. The guy go out and bury the daughter alive. I can't even imagine that. Now I know in this Jahiliyyah here, they do that. Abortions and all that. But that's just the point. The companion said, maybe it's our children who were born in Islam and they didn't have to deal with what we dealt with in Jahiliyyah. They were dealing with crazy stuff. In Jahiliyyah, if a lady, her husband died, he's done. His brothers inherited her. 4 or 5 brothers. Hey, you belong to me. Come over here. And then how would her iddah be? They would put her in the house in a room, slaughter an animal, and put the animal in there for a month, 2 months. She couldn't bathe. And that was the way she showed the community she respected their brother and their family. And then after that, one of the brothers just take her. That was Jahiliyyah without Islam. So the companions knew how it was. And that's why Umar al-Khwani, in a very famous statement for his, this is Umar, not a hadith. So don't get it twisted. Umar said, إِنَّمَا تُنْقَضُ عُرَى الْإِسْلَامِ عُرْوَةً عُرْوَةً إِذَا نَشَأَ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ مَنْ لَمْ يَعْلَمْ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. He said, the urwa of Islam, the institutions will be broke one by one. Islam will get weak and get messed up. If people grew up in Islam and they didn't know Jahiliyyah, that doesn't mean Islam wants you to be out there smoking blunts and being a crackhead. No, what it's saying is, if a person knows Jahiliyyah, he'll have an appreciation for Islam. He'll really appreciate it. I guess one of the best examples I can give you is a drug addict. He does heroin. He's addicted to heroin. Once he comes off of heroin, he really knows how life is without that heroin. So I want to say, I will say to all our brothers here, we look at brothers who were born in Islam, and I have a respect for you, even if you're younger than me. Just on the virtue that you come from Somalia, you come from Pakistan, you come from Bangladesh, you come from Mirpur, you come from Sudan, you wherever, you preceded me. And that's in the Quran, in Surah Al-Hashr. Allah Ta'ala mentions that in the Quran, that the people who preceded them, you should make dua for them. You have to, those who went before us. So I'm not against you. I'm not against you. The brothers who were born and raised in Islam, like most of you, you have a position in good. And the brothers and sisters who embrace Islam, they have position in good. And they're not better than them, and they're not better than them. They both have some good. The revert comes to Islam, and it's not culture. It's not culture for him. She put that hijab on because she believes in that stuff. She put niqab on, gloves. She believes in that stuff. It's not because her parents gave that to her. She said to her job, hey, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And he does that. Not everybody, but you find that thing. Whereas the one who was born and raised Islam, it was given to him. It was a given to him. So if he works in a store, she works in a store, Muslim come, they say, hello, good morning, want to hide Islam. As opposed to, hey, I'm hiding Islam for. So the haq in the issue is what Allah said, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The best of you is the one who has the most taqwa. If you were born and raised and you take care of religion, you're the best. If you embrace Islam, you take care of religion, you're the best. Has nothing to do with how you came into Islam. It has everything to do with what we are doing. So this is the first talk I just wanted to give as an introductory talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it, inshallah. And we'll deal with a large and wide range of topics. If you brothers have any questions, inshallah, you can and put your question forth. And there's another thing though that's important, and that is, you may not be a revert to Islam, but your wife is. And there's another tragedy we have. The sister's married to a brother, and because of the way he deals with her and his family and how the marriage is, she doesn't want Islam. It's not a nice picture. Whereas during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, marriage was one of the ways that people came to Islam. It was one of the main ways that people came into this religion, by marrying the Muslims. And we'll do